Gym leaders are some of the most interesting and significant characters in the Pokemon games, and there is a lot of interesting stuff to be had about them, which is why in this video, I'm going to be going over 20 crazy facts about Pokemon gym leaders that you may not know about. And today's crazy facts are being brought to you by none other than our boy, Folkachi. Folkachi is my mascot, and he's now available in super adorable plush form and super amazing card form right now on my merch store, HoopsandHipHop.com. The plush is super soft, squishy, and high quality, and when you order it, you get that super amazing card with it for free. The card is as cool of a TCG card as I've ever seen, and it comes from the upcoming Histrobi Chronicles TCG that I'm currently working on, which is based on the Histrobi Chronicles monster catching video game that I'm also working on. It's also not available anywhere else, as the only way to get it is through this special promo. Not to mention, picking up a plush is also a huge support in helping the channel to keep going and videos to keep happening, and helping to keep those projects that I mentioned happening as well. So if you enjoy my content, consider picking up a plush and a card at HoopsandHipHop.com with the link in the description. They're both genuinely amazing, it would be super duper appreciated, and as always, thank you guys a bunch for all of your support. Okay, so to start things off, let's begin with one that is somewhat surprising. There are two Pokemon that are currently tied for the honor of being used the most times amongst gym leaders. One of them is Gyarados, which is probably not too surprising, but the other one is Pelipper. That's right, a Pokemon that is mostly trashed and forgotten about these days is used by gym leaders more than any other Pokemon, being used by Falkner, Winona, Juan in the anime, Crasher Wake, Volkner, Nessa, and Kofu. One of the few water-type gym leaders who hasn't used Pelipper, meanwhile, is Misty, and a crazy thing about Misty is that apparently she was considered to make an appearance in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. In the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon Essential Art book, Misty is included in a piece of concept art, implying that she was either planned or at least considered to appear in those games at one point. One of those gym leaders that has used Pelipper, meanwhile, is Falkner. And an interesting thing about him is that there is a potential connection between him and Giovanni. The fact that Falkner is a flying-type gym leader and the first gym leader in Johto is possibly the result of some carryover from the Generation 1 games, where Giovanni was originally going to be a flying-type gym leader as well, and the Viridian City gym which he leads was originally going to be the first gym that you would face in the Kanto games, just like Falkner's. After defeating Falkner's gym, you would naturally head to Azalea Town to face the second gym leader in Johto, Bugsy. And a funny thing about him is that the badge he gives out, the Hive badge, resembles a ladybug. And there also just so happens to be a ladybug Pokemon that was introduced in the Johto games who is a bug type in the form of Ledyba and Ledian. But despite this, Bugsy does not use Ledyba or Ledian on his team at any point in any of the games where you can battle him. Another bug-type user in the Pokemon games is Cheren from the Sinnoh games, and even though he is an Elite Four member, it is revealed that at one point he was actually a gym leader as well. In Pokemon Black and White 2, you can watch a television program that will tell you about a bug catcher and gym leader in Sinnoh who stepped down as a gym leader in order to become a member of the Elite Four, revealing that Cheren was once a gym leader prior to the events of the Sinnoh games. And not only is that interesting, but then it also kind of makes you wonder which of the Sinnoh gym leaders could have been the one that replaced him, and therefore is the newest of the bunch, which is also pretty interesting to think about as well. If I had to guess on that, I would probably say that it's Roark, because not only is he the first and weakest gym leader in the Sinnoh games, but he's also probably the youngest, and his dad is also a gym leader as well, meaning that he's got a little bit of pull to help him get the job. And while the games do go outright and tell you that Byron and Roark are father and son, a connection in their designs that also implies that this is the case is that they are both wearing the same mining uniform, with Roark being the young buck who's wearing the full ensemble, and Byron being the veteran elder statesman whose uniform is a bit worse for wear. These two aren't the only gym leaders from the Gen 4 era that have cool references in their designs, however. In Erika's design from Heart Gold and Soul Silver, if you look closely, you can actually see the heart logo that appears in the logo for Pokemon Heart Gold on her clothes, which is a pretty cool detail to include. One gym leader that takes this kind of thing to the next level, though, is Blaine. Blaine also gets a new look in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and his new design is actually one big reference to the Riddler from Batman, as they have similar hats, and in particular, both have question mark shaped canes. This is also especially fitting considering that Blaine's gym puzzles have always revolved around questions and riddles themselves. Next, let's shift gears for a sec and talk about the actual gyms of these gym leaders. One really cool gym detail comes from Brock's gym in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and it's that once you ascend the platform to where Brock is standing, you can actually see some sprinklers that are hanging from the ceiling. This is very likely an intentional reference to Brock's gym from the anime, where Ash in his battle with Brock famously uses the sprinklers in the gym to help him get the win. Meanwhile, in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, there is a fun little oversight in the Dewford gym that can be discovered right when you step inside. If you go to the wall right behind the right-hand statue at the front of the gym and press A while you're looking at it, it will say Dewford Town Pokemon Gym, as if it is the statue itself. In Pokemon Black 2 and White 2 at the Driftveil gym, it is actually possible to come back and battle any gym trainers that you haven't battled yet after you have already defeated the gym leader, which is a rarity as this isn't normally possible in gyms. Speaking of gym trainers, there were originally plans for there to be a couple more of them at the Levincia gym in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, as there is data in the games for 2 unused trainers at this gym. Diego, who would have used a level 22 Magnemite and Dedenne, and Alonzo, who would have used a level 22 Pincurchin. Wrapping back around to the leaders themselves though, a cool thing about Clemont that's kind of hidden in plain sight is that as the Lumiose City gym leader, he has a very fitting ace Pokemon, as not only is his Heliolisk an electric type, which not only fits his type specialty, but also it fits Lumiose City's theme as the City of Light, but this also goes one step further on top of this, as Heliolisk is also partially inspired by the sun, which is obviously the biggest source of light that we have here on Earth, which makes for a very sly and clever connection. Another couple of cool gym leader details concern Drayden and Iris. These two, depending on whether you're playing Pokemon Black or White, are the leaders of the Oplucid City Gym. And this is a rather interesting city in the Pokemon world since its theme revolves around time. In one version of the games, it's a more futuristic city, and in the other, it's more past-oriented. And this theme of time is also present in the gym leaders as well, as Drayden is an older man, while Iris, by contrast, is essentially a young child, reflecting a passage of time between the two of them and different eras of time that each of them represent and come from, just like the city itself. If you look closely, another thing that shows off Iris's youth as well as her type specialty are her shoes, as in her official black and white artwork, the undersides of her shoes feature the footprint of a dragon. Another interesting thing from the black and white gym leaders concerns Cheren. The fact in question does actually involve him as a rival instead of a gym leader, but since he is also a gym leader, I figured it was fair game. In the original black and white, whenever you defeat Cheren in a battle, he will always head off in the direction that you are supposed to go next. And kind of on the flip side of this, your other rival Bianca, after being defeated, will head in the direction that you just came from, making for a pretty neat detail that is also a good reflection of these characters as a whole. Now we're gonna head into the territory of beta content and some behind the scenes stuff. And first up is the fact that it's very possible that Red was once going to be a gym leader. In the since leaked beta of Pokemon Gold and Silver, Red's sprite is used as the sprite for the gym leader in the Kanto gym, with Kanto in this iteration of the games only having one gym to its name since Kanto as an area was much smaller at this point in development. Red being present in the Kanto gym does make a lot of sense as well, since he obviously is from Kanto, and while the game is in a very placeholder kind of state within this demo, all signs do indeed seem to point towards Red originally taking up the mantle of a gym leader in these games. And it could also explain how your rival, Blue, ended up getting this role himself instead in the final product. Going back even further to the days of Generation 1, within the English manuals of the Gen 1 games, gym leaders are actually referred to as Pokemon leaders instead. It's also used as if it is an official title, just like gym leader would be, so apparently the terminology here hadn't even been finalized at this point, at least in English anyway, even though the games were already released, which is pretty crazy. And like Gen 2, Gen 1 also had its beta days as well. And a really interesting thing from the beta days of Gen 1 are a number of unused gym badges. Courtesy of Cut Content website, The Cutting Room Floor, within the data of the Gen 1 games are badges that are known as the Chill Badge, the Friendship Badge, the Falcon Badge, which interestingly was very possibly going to be Giovanni's original badge, since he was originally a flying type gym leader, and then finally the City Garba Badge. There are also other badges here as well that were likely reworked into the game's final badges, such as the Shell Badge, which possibly became the Cascade Badge, the Rose Badge, which could have possibly became the Rainbow Badge, and the Fireball Badge, which possibly ended up becoming the Volcano Badge in the final games. And speaking of unused badges, there are a number of badges that have been seen in the anime that have never been seen in the games before. These unseen badges appeared consistently in the original Ash Ketchum era of the anime, and appeared in most generations and regions on top of that. While it might be easy to write this off as something that's just anime exclusive, it's still pretty fascinating, and with Pokemon Sword and Shield introducing the idea of minor league gyms and even minor league gym leaders, and implying the existence of more gyms than just the 8 that we face in the games, it could be possible that this has more or less been a thing in Pokemon for a while, even if it's only been behind the scenes to this point. That is all I have got for you guys in this video though, so if you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and all of that good stuff because it really helps the video out, and let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below. As always, if you want to support the channel further as well, you can check out my Patreon with the link in the description, or my Pokemon remixes wherever you get your music, and listen to some tunes to help make videos possible. I will also see you soon with another video right back here as well, and until then, as always, thanks so much for watching this one, I really appreciate it, and I will smell you guys later.